Pillar number 5, customer service. Customer service is absolutely vital to your success. You want to make sure that you do the best in customer service that you possibly can. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the customer is always right and that you always got to bend the rules just for the customer all the time. But you want to know that your business revolves around your feedback, and the reviews that the customer leaves you can affect also your ranking and your score. And there's not a huge amount of customers that actually look at a seller's feedback before they make a purchase. I would say it's maybe about 50-50. But a lot of customers do look at feedback before they make a purchase. Now, the key in customer service is obviously avoiding getting negative feedback. When a customer sends you a message, you're going to receive that message right here in your back office under the tab Messages. You click on that, you can go to the inbox. You want to make sure you always reply back to the customers from this message. You never want to send them a personal email. That way there's documentation just in case the issue gets escalated to eBay. There's documentation between you and the customer. A good general rule of thumb is you always want to reply back to the customers as quickly as possible, but of course that's not always an option. You want to typically respond back to customers within 24 hours. From my experience, most of the customer inquiries are going to be questions about your item. Now, a lot of times you might not be 100% familiar with that item. Just do your best, do some research, read the description, read the reviews, and see if you can find the answer for that question. And if you can't find the answer, just be honest with them. And here's a typical message that we send a customer when they ask a question that we don't know. We let them know that, I'm very sorry, we don't know 100% the correct answer, but if you like, you can order the product. There's a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you're not happy, you can send it back and we'll give you a refund. That's always a good message to give them. A couple other tips with customer service. You always want to be extremely polite and extremely professional, no matter what the situation is. Even if a customer is irate, you never want to get angry back at them and have any kind of backlash. You always want to be polite and professional at all times. We've dealt with some irate situations and they actually turn out into positive situations, and customers will still leave us positive feedback. So if you go to my account, you'll see my feedback. Currently right now, I don't have the greatest feedback, but it's at 98.4%, which is still pretty decent because eBay requires that you have at least 98% to be in the top rated seller status. Okay, you always want to try to achieve more. At least 99% would be ideal. As you can see, I've had 1,784 people leave me feedback on about 3,800 transactions. So only about 50%, I would say even less than 50% of the customers that actually order even leave you a feedback. So don't get hurt if a customer doesn't leave you a feedback at all. That's actually very normal. Now, a lot of times when you do receive bad feedback, it's almost unavoidable. There's really nothing much that you can do except for ask for a feedback revision, which I'll share in another lecture. For example, if you ship out the product and the customer simply just was not happy with the product and it was as advertised, the customer can leave you negative feedback. There's nothing you can do there. You might be able to offer them a refund, have them ship it back, and ask them to revise their feedback. But other than that, there's nothing that you can really do. Some other times, maybe shipping got delayed. Again, that's out of your control. You don't control the shipping. The source controls the shipping. So a customer might be upset that an item is taking longer than expected. Okay? One of the biggest reasons you can get negative feedback is when an item is out of stock. Now, when an item is out of stock, there's really only one option. You got to give them an immediate refund. The key is sending them a very nice and apologetic letter and letting them know that you made a mistake. Here's a quick example of what we send. In the very rare case, I would say about 5% of our orders are actually out of stock. And we'll just let them know, hey, we're very, very sorry that we are unable to fulfill this order. We issued you a refund right away. We actually made a mistake listing this item or had a mistake with our inventory. We would like to make this up to you. Perhaps on your next order, we can give you a 5% or even a 10% discount. Thank you for your understanding and patience. Have a great day. All right. So something like that when you do come across an item that's out of stock. Now, there are going to be other times when maybe you list up an item and maybe you miscalculated the formula, or maybe the source increased the price on that item. This does happen, I would say maybe about also 5% of the time. Let's say you had an item that you were selling and the customer bought it for $20. When you go order it, you find out that the source increased their price to $30. So now you're going to lose more than $10 after fees. So what do you do in the scenario, right? You have a couple options here as well. If you want to risk getting negative feedback, you can give them a refund and apologize. But know that that's a 50-50 chance that you're taking there. The customer can leave you negative feedback even after you give them a refund. In that scenario, typically what I do is, it depends. If I had my account for a couple months, I've made a few $100s, a few $1,000s, I would not mind losing $10 or $15 on that transaction just so the customer can be happy. There's been several times where we'll just go ahead and bite the bullet and order the product for the customer, take a loss, $10, $15, and call it a day. We make up the loss in the next transaction and by making $20, $30, $40, $50. Okay, so you really want to be careful there, and also monitor your feedback. If you have 99.9% feedback and you come across a transaction that you don't want to fulfill or can't fulfill because the item is priced higher, then go ahead and give them a refund and give them an apology and hope that that doesn't happen. But if you're kind of on the borderline of 98% or something like that, then you definitely want to give them the item. Okay, now let's go back to my feedback. I think it's a lot better to learn from stories than it is to just learn from theory here, okay? So I'll be very transparent and just kind of go over my feedback and all the negative situations I've encountered and how I've handled it or how I've tried to handle it. So again, 1784, you'll see in the last year, only 27 of those were negative feedback, okay? Just remember, you can't please everyone. Sometimes you're going to come across a very negative customer and there's absolutely nothing you can do to make him happy. Okay, so if you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. So just keep that in mind. It's almost, impossible to have 100% feedback. I don't think I've seen many people do that. It's nearly impossible. So look, here's one negative feedback. It was an item that we sold. It was a pin punch set, and it bent out of the box and bent and mushroomed itself without moving the pin. It was a metal pin, and basically if you hit it too hard, it will bend. I mean, that's just how it is. So, the customer received the product that was advertised. Dozens of other people have ordered this product, and he just was not happy with the quality. I even offered him a full refund and keep the item. Didn't even have to ship it back. The customer still left me negative feedback, okay? So let's go back, see if I can find a couple more to share with you. Here's two of them. This was a big issue here for us. This customer ordered items that we didn't have in stock. We gave them a refund right away, told them that, hey, look, on your next order, or if you see anything else in your store that you like, we'll gladly give you a 10% discount. Well, he was not happy. Still left us a bad feedback. He ordered 2 of those items, so ended up leaving us 2 negative feedbacks. Nothing I can do there in that situation, okay? But as you see, in the most part, all positive feedbacks, right? Great seller, thank you, good product, fast shipping, right? So just as advertised, outstanding eBay, or hope to do business with again, all right? Extremely fast shipping. So most of the time, it's very, very positive, okay? One more page, see if we can find anything else. Never shipped. He canceled the order. Again, one of those items that we didn't have in stock. We gave him a refund right away, offered him a discount. He didn't take it, and that's pretty much it. So, again, you don't get too much negative feedback. Don't focus on the negative too much. You focus on the negative, you'll attract it. Just focus on doing what you're supposed to do. Customer orders an item from you. Process the order right away from your source. Upload the tracking number as soon as possible. Answer all your customer questions. Follow the 5 pillars as I explained in the lectures, and you're going to do totally fine, okay? So very excited for you to start applying what you're learning, start to get your store and get your feet wet, and looking forward to hearing your feedback.